Okay. Now rolling. Action.
Hello, Daphne.
Hello, Maya.
I'm very happy to see you on board.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful time with you. So we are doing this yoga and dive cruise, and I wanted to have some feedback because it's the first time we do a special yoga and dive cruise. So I wanted to have some feedback from you. So the first one is when and why did you start practicing yoga?
I started practicing yoga when I was about 15 years old. I practiced yoga because I saw my mother's yoga book that she got from a jumble sale, and I was trying out some poses from the book. So that's my way of practicing. Many years later, I actually joined a yoga class, and then I think that was where I started my love for yoga. But then I sort of disliked yoga about 6 years ago, when people started posting all these yoga poses, and I got intimidated by all these yoga teachers in my class who were forcing me to bend or to reach for my toes or to make sure that I folded, and I felt so intimidated and so inadequate as a yoga student. So I stopped going because I felt, oh, I'm not doing it enough, because the girl kept saying, no, you need to bend lower, bend lower. And I started getting this spine problem, which I had steroid injections for it. And I found out much later, upon taking yoga classes myself, being a yoga instructor, because I was taking part in this program with some unwed pregnant mothers, and I was keen on giving them lessons on exercise. I thought yoga would be perfect, but I knew I couldn't just teach these mothers yoga without going through being a certified instructor. So I went through a yoga instructor class, and that's when I found out, hey, yoga is not supposed to be about doing headstands and handstands and being able to be so flexible. You must listen to your body. And that is when I realized I need to do this. I need to make sure that I will be able to teach yoga the right way and not do it just for Instagram's sake. And I think that's where my love for yoga and how I want to incorporate the proper usage of yoga. And it's not just about poses, but it's also about your way of life. And a lot of people neglect that part of yoga. So that is why I was very curious to see how yoga and diving would come together. My husband and I are diving buddies, but he noticed that my air was always more than his. And I owe it a lot to my breathing technique, which I learned via yoga. So I'm trying to convince him to take up yoga and to learn these breathing techniques, to experiment if it really is the yoga that's helping me out with my breathing and the reason why I can hold on to more air than him, or is it just because I'm a lady and he's a man and he's taking photos. So something that I was very curious about. And that's why I thought, hey, let's do this together, yoga plus diving, where we can, incorporate both of my loves and hopefully drag him in to see if he'll be interested. And he did.
So we practice every morning and every night together on the boat. How is the practice here on the boat? First, my first question is, do you feel that practicing on Jakaré is different from practicing at home?
Obviously, different teachers have different methods and different ways. Because of my bad experience with other yoga instructors before, where they were forcing my body to go into things that I do not feel comfortable with, I think it's first and foremost very important to have the connection with the teacher. So I love the fact that my yoga instructor on this Jakaré is perfect for me. She knew exactly what her guests are. I mean, she knew not to push the body. She knew the cues. She has the same yoga philosophy that I share, where it's basically, you must listen to your body. I think that's very important. So the connection with the teacher is first and foremost very vital. So that's why I enjoyed going for classes. Second, I think it's definitely different because of the fact that we're on a moving boat, and the balancing, the focus is more intense, it's more dynamic. I'm more used to dynamic poses where I go into vinyasas and I change poses as my breathing goes along. But this time we went slower, but it was weird because at the same time as I was going slower, And as I was just holding a pose longer, it was more challenging, because right now I'm not just focusing on the pose and, you know, getting the strength right, but also making sure that it was also connecting with my mental and my emotions, because you're trying to not think about the wind or the flap of the mat going into your face, and trying to see, am I doing it right? Am I breathing properly? Is this Qigong concept right? There were a lot of new concepts that was introduced that I've read about or I've experienced before in other classes, but to do it in one class was just so rewarding. And I think what was most interesting is the fact that because it's not a studio, you don't have mirrors, so you're not competing with yourself anymore. You're truly just listening to your teacher's voice and your body, and that's it.
And you have to go inside.
And you
so you are really
really
withdrawing your senses inward. So that's very nice. So did you feel that the practice on board helped you for the diving? You told me about this morning, so maybe you can tell me the story.
One of the classes that we had was in the morning on breathing techniques, and again, because this is something that I've always wanted to be able to master, I felt that breathing class in the morning was just superb and so timely. Because what happened, what next was the first dive after that breathing class was I went through a panic, anxiety attack underwater. The currents were really strong. I couldn't find my buddy, aka my husband, and Dylan, who is my diving instructor and also the cruise director for this ship, was the only person there. And I thought, oh no, where's everyone else? And I started panicking. And because the currents were so strong, he was also trying to summon, and you know, probably he thought that I was okay because he's seen me dive and I'm usually okay. But I was just panicking there. And then I remembered what Maya was telling me. She was saying, just breathe, just breathe, just breathe like a straw. And I kept thinking about that, and because obviously I was breathing, but I felt I was not breathing enough because it was not coming through my nose, and I was just getting all the air from the regulator. But I was panicking, and I kept recalling, it's mind over matter, mind over matter. So that practice of breathing, what we learned, and how Maya had actually mentioned, sometimes when you're holding your breath, when we did this practice called
Ujjana Bandha.
I can't pronounce it now. Ujjana Bandha. And Maya kept saying, you might have that urge to and get, you know, but it's okay, you're not gonna die, don't worry. And that's what kept playing underwater. And eventually I calmed down. Dylan didn't have to take my regulator or my BCD anymore, and I calmed down. And then eventually we saw the rest of the group, and I thought that was so surreal how I woke up in time for that, because I had a bad case of diarrhea for the past few days, and I missed some of the morning practices. But for that particular one, I said, you know what, I think she said she's going to do breathing classes. I must go for it. Even if I'm going to have diarrhea on my mat, I need to go for this class. And I'm so grateful I did, because it really, really helped me during my dive.
That's good, huh?
That was scary, but yes, it's how the universe works.
Yeah. And that's how you understand that most of the time it's your monkey mind talking.
It is.
It was your monkey mind,
It
because
was.
you didn't see anything, so it didn't mean something happened. It was just your monkey mind starting to maybe something that bad happened. So that's and you lose your mindfulness.
I lost it, and but then I kept remembering you saying, when you do that bandha, you will have that feeling of I'm gonna die because I can't breathe. And that's when I said, it's going to be okay. I'm not going to die.
So you went back to mindfulness, and after you saw everything was okay.
Yes.
He was with us. Okay, so for your experience on this cruise, what are your most memorable moments on board?
Oh God, so many. I think my fear and why I put off taking a cruise on a liveaboard, diving and stuff, is because I'm very prone to seasickness, and I was worried about food because I'm gonna be far away from the land, and where am I gonna get my food? I know this sounds so superficial, but I think the guests whom I've never met before, or one or two I've met, but the rest I don't know them. I think it was the family closeness that we had, and that made me feel very comfortable. That was one. And the food on this ship, you will never get hungry, that's for sure. They always serve really good food. I think it's the friendship formed and the whole experience of being able to marry both my loves, which is yoga and diving, with the person whom I love the most, who matters the most, which is my husband, who's on the trip with me. And I think it was very special. I must add that there was, besides all the yoga practices and the diving, there was one night where someone else came over, and instead of having yoga, we actually practiced this dyad class, where Maya, as well as her friend Suzanne, introduced us to this concept of meditation where you get to talk. And I think that was something that I really felt rewarding for me and my husband, because it's something that you take for granted when you think that you've been married for 10 years. And yeah, we are together, where he's my business partner, he's my family, he's the father, he's also my husband. So yeah, surely we talk, but we don't do it enough. So I think that was a very important exercise that I learned on this trip. And like I said, the classes is not just your normal yoga sun salutations. It just evolves according to the needs of the guests. Who would have thought that I'll be doing yoga nidra? Yoga nidra on this trip, and it was just beautiful. How
was your experience in yoga nidra?
Yoga nidra, I've done it before, but I've never felt this. I've never felt this light before. I've tried it before with someone else, but I fell asleep. And again, I think that's why it's so important to try out different instructors, because I thought that was the purpose of yoga nidra, just to fall asleep. But actually, what I learned from this trip is that it's not that you're sleeping completely. You are resting, but in alert state, which is really hard, but because you're relaxing, but you're also alert at the same time. And I think because how the program was conducted, even though it will evolve around the days, it was systematic. So Maya trained our brains to be able to focus and to be mindful. So that training in the beginning helped me with this yoga nidra, because then I can imagine focusing and imagining the blue light going to my forehead, to my throat, to different parts of my body. It was easier for me to understand the concept, rather than you just started on the first day and I'm like, what the hell is she talking about? Because you gradually brought us there. It's just like the qigong, and I would have thought, okay, what is she doing, making us play with the ball? And suddenly, when I felt that energy, I'm like, oh, wait, is this what she's talking about? What is that energy? And I can do it now. I can subconsciously do it now.
Away, yeah.
And before this, out there, I see all these, old ladies in the park and they're doing qigong, and what the hell are they doing? But now I understand it. I understand the energy, and all that has been taught in such a short span of time on this boat.
Because it's very simple, actually, but it's only very simple techniques. And when you go back to the base is very simple. Your yoga and your life is the same, just based on these 2 words: relax yet alert. 2 words. And if you manage, cannot do it every second of the day, but if one day you manage to be relaxed yet alert, everything will flow very easily. And you won't have any more panic attack or whatever, because you will be so mindful and so relaxed at the same time.
I think that's why I like this cruise, because it was like an intensive course of all the important yoga practices that I was looking forward to, done in a week's time. But it was done in such simple, basic language. And mind you, Maya is French. So there's a bit of an accent where I have to trying to figure out, is that what she said? And yet I understood it. So I think that's very important. You manage to compact all these really important life lessons in yoga into 1 week, and I can use it on a daily basis. Like the breathing exercises, where you said, if I don't have time to do a full yoga session, I'm just going to be doing this, where it's something as pulling the rope and stuff like that, and you're doing that. And I've always tried to master that, but I mastered that in 1 morning. So it's again very important to find the right yoga instructor. That's so important.
And it's about sharing, so you have to feel the right. Yeah, correct. As a question about, so this was yoga and diving. What did you think about? Because you never come to Komodo first time. So unfortunately, the weather was not as good as usual. Sometimes it happens. So the conditions were a bit more rough than usual. But how was your diving?
Wow, if this was considered weather not as great, I must say that I'm blessed because I've had worse diving experiences. I must say that the dive sites here are so beautiful. It is definitely worth coming here to Komodo and saving a little bit of extra money to go on a proper liveaboard that has all the facilities so you're comfortable and they will look after you, and that's very, very important to make sure that you save enough to enjoy the whole 1 week or 10 days. I really enjoy the dive sites. I think it's also important to have crew that understands you and to tell you who are experts in knowing, okay, this person might not be as experienced, so we're going to group these people together. You know, it's all about experience actually. I know I panicked a few that one particular time, and that breathing exercise helped, but they were managed to, the dive instructor or the DM was able to calm me down very quickly, and I was not afraid to go on my next dive, because normally I've done one where I panicked, not as panicked as the one that I had this morning, but I panicked and I didn't want to dive for the next 2 dives because I said, oh, I don't want to do it anymore. But instantly I felt better here. The equipment is good. They've got everything here. I just bought my mask only because I'm more comfortable having my own mask. Otherwise, I think if I didn't bring my mask, I'll be fine without it, because it's a 5-star dive center that we get all the stuff.
If you have one image of the underwater you just met, what would that be?
Magnificent.
Just describe something you saw during this week that is stuck in your mind, and you will always be able to go back to that, say, I saw that.
I think it was I think if there's one image that will just keep replaying my head, is the Mabula rays. And it was so beautiful just to see a family of them just swimming by, cruising by, and they look so happy and content, and there was also a school of big fish. It was just like an aquarium where you see in like a Nemo and Friends. It's something that you can only see in movies or in cartoons or animation, and yet I saw it there so clearly before my eyes with people who I trust, and I was so excited. I was, saying hello, hi, and then, did you see that? I was trying to show you guys, did you guys see that? And it's not as if I could talk, but that was just my excitement right now, because I came here to see rays. We saw manta ray, we saw sharks, we saw turtles, we just saw everything, that I wanted to see. But that image was stick in my head.
It's the last question, but it should have been the first one. Sorry about that. But can you tell me a bit about yourself and about your vlogging, for example?
Okay. My name is Daphne Iking. I am a TV host, producer, content creator, vlogger, YouTuber, and a mother to 3 kids, 4 including Arif. And I am an avid diver. I am a certified prenatal yoga instructor. I'm a child advocate. And I strongly believe that we need to do more to our environment, and I think it only takes political will to make sure that everyone around the world is able to do it together. I mean, everyone can play a part, but it takes political will to say, no, if you don't do this, this is what's going to happen to you, and it has to be global.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maya.
Oh, yo.